Hi, thanks for joining me. My name is Julie, and this is stampwithjuliebaum.com. At a recent stamp club, we made this adorable little box with the strawberries on the front. And today I wanted to show you how to make this cute box from start to finish. We're going to do it a teeny bit different, just change it up a little bit. So I'm going to make this yellow version today with you. And the stamp set that I'm using is this one called Sweet Strawberry. It's a photopolymer stamp set. It has a coordinating punch, the Strawberry Builder punch, and this can be purchased as a bundle in the current January to June 2021 mini catalog. The first thing I want to do is get all of the stamped pieces stamped and punched out and ready to go. And then I will teach you how to make the adorable box. So one thing that is helpful to know when you're using this particular stamp set and punch is it may be helpful to actually stamp your images on a strip as opposed to a larger piece of cardstock. And let me show you why. I am using Garden Green for the outline part of my strawberry stem. And I'm going to use Granny Apple Green for the center part of the strawberry stem. I'm going to turn this and hopefully I don't get too much in the way here as I stamp. Sorry about that. All right, so there's our two colors of green on the stem. Let's also put a leaf on here, and then I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about of why I'm stamping on a strip of paper. So I've got the outline part of my leaf. This is also with Garden Green. And then the inside part of the leaf. And I'm using Granny Apple Green once again for the inside of the leaf. Like so. All right. I also on this project am using a couple of flowers. So I did 3. So let me get those on here. Again, I'm going to fast forward here in a minute so you don't have to watch me stamping all of the parts. But there's the 3 outlines of my flower. That was with a black ink pad. And then I chose this time to do 3 different colored flowers. So I'm going to stamp the center of my flower, one of them with Balmy Blue, which happens to be one of the colors in the designer series paper pack that I'll show you. Let me clean this little flower off, and then I'm doing one in Pacific Point, which is also another color in the designer series paper. And my third one I'm stamping in Daffodil Delight, which is a bright yellow and is going to match the color of our box. Let me make sure that stamp is clean so I don't get blue on my yellow ink pad. All right, so this third one is Daffodil Delight. All right, so there's a couple of images stamped again on my strip. This is why that's important, or it may be helpful. The way that the punch is laid out, it has several images that you can punch out. And so as you can see, if I had a bigger piece of paper like this, and I was just gonna punch out like the strawberry, and I put it in there, I would end up punching out all this extra paper that would end up being scrap. It wouldn't be usable. So instead of using a larger piece of paper, I'm using a strip that I can just slide in and get it closer to only the image that I want to punch out. Then I won't have so much scrap left over. So here it is with the strawberry stem. And also a thing to know, when you have multiple images that a punch will punch out at the same time, it can be a stiffer punch, a little bit harder to use. So you are going to want to use some strength when you punch this out. All right, so I've got my stem and not a lot of extra scrap that I have to worry about wasting. And then I can likewise come in with my leaf and line it up and punch that out. Not a lot of scrap left behind. And then in the same way, here, let's just trim that off. I can get in here and punch out the flowers. So you can see how having the strip of paper with all your images stamped can actually save you some cardstock along the way. All right, so I do have all of my pieces pre-punched and ready to go. We need 1 strawberry and 1 stem. I'm using 2 leaves and the 3 flowers. The other thing that I'm going to do is stamp just a little greeting in the corner. So I have a scrap of Whisper White cardstock or basic white, and I've got some words that I pulled from the same Sweet Strawberry stamp set, and I'm just going to stamp Just for You in Daffodil Delight. And then I will take a 1-inch punch. Your punch might look different, or you might be using a die, but I'm just going to punch out my words. And then I have a scrap, let's see, I have a scrap here of Balmy Blue, and I will punch a circle out of that. This one is a 1 1/4 inch circle. So I've punched that out. And then I'm just going to glue the word circle onto that blue circle for our little sentiment that we're going to put on the front of the box. I just used a little bit of liquid glue there to attach that to the blue circle. All right, so I'm just going to set those pieces aside. Let's learn how to make the box. And I do want to mention, if you stay tuned to the very end of this video, I'm going to show you an alternate way to do your stamping and punching aside from the strips, and it might appeal to some of you. It's kind of a shortcut. So stay tuned to the very end and I'll come back and show you that. All right, so for the box, all right, for this part, which of course, depending on what theme you're using, could be any color. Today I'm using Daffodil Delight. And I have my piece of cardstock cut 5 inches by 7 inches. Right, I'm going to grab my Simply Scored tool so I can do some scored lines on this. I'm going to lay this in here on my board with the long edge at the top, and I'm going to score at 3 inches and at 4 inches. Then I'm going to turn the paper, the cardstock, so that the short end is now resting up at the top, and it gets scored at 1 inch and at 4 inches. All right, we're done scoring. We can set that aside. I'll grab a bone folder here and just reinforce those creases. Go ahead and fold along the crease lines. Reinforce with your bone folder. Then we're just going to take some scissors and do our cutting. All right, I've got my paper snips here, which are nice and sharp and ready to go. I'm going to cut right here and right here. This is going to be a tab when I'm ready to fold and assemble my box. And then what I like to do is just take a little of the weight out of this tab. So you can call it an angle or a wedge, but I'm just going to snip a triangle shape out of this tab. Take some of the bulk out when you go to assemble it and put it together, makes it go together a little bit nicer. Do the same thing on the other side. So I'm going to snip right on the score line and take the wedge out. And do the same thing here. Snip it right on the score line and then take the wedge out of my flap. All right, now this is kind of a good time to go ahead and put all of the decorations on the box while it's flat. You could go ahead and assemble the box first and then put them on, but it's flat, it's a little bit easier. Let's do it that way. All right, I have a piece of Designer Series paper here. This is from, I need to get the name of it. I think it's Berry Delightful. It's actually one of the paper packs that can be earned as a celebration gift. So I have cut a 2 3/4 by 2 3/4 inch, so it's square, 2 3/4 by 2 3/4 square of designer paper that we're just going to glue right here on the front. And again, I'm just reaching for my liquid glue. This paper in the Celebration brochure is coupled with another set that goes well with the sweet strawberry. It's a different berry set that has boysenberries and blueberries. And so between the designer paper and the berry blessings set that you can earn, and then team all of that up with the sweet strawberry set and the strawberry punch, you have some wonderful products that all work well together. All right, so there's my designer paper, and now we'll just build the front. Let's attach the strawberry. I'll show you how I do this, but it doesn't really matter how you want to do it. Add your favorite adhesive. I'm going to stick my strawberry on there, but I'm not going to push it down real tight quite yet. That way it gives me a moment where I can still tuck my strawberry leaves in behind it, and I'll do the same with the second leaf. All right, so just a little bit of glue there, and I'll tuck this in enough so that it's in there, but I want it sticking out here almost on the yellow, like that. I like it. Now I can press all those down. Okay, grab your strawberry stem, a little bit of glue on that, and remember your liquid glue goes a long way, so use it sparingly. All right, that stem completes the strawberry. Super cute. And then let's add our flowers. I'm going to start with the Pacific Point flower. Little dab of glue on there, and let's put it right here. We'll take this one, which was stamped with Daffodil Delight, and maybe add that one. Yeah, I still kind of like it tucked in by the strawberry. And then how about on this third flower? This was the which color blue? Balmy Blue. Let's put one of these little mini dimensionals on it. So let me grab, let's see, where is my tool? All right, my other tool is just out of reach, so I'm going to grab the old style of pierce tool, pick up a mini dimensional. Let's put it on the back of this guy. All right, and then we'll pop him up here by the leaf. All right, like so. And now let's add our greeting, and we could put it flat, or let's go ahead and pop that up too. So I've got a regular size dimensional. Let's just put it on with one of those. That way it's got another little area that is popped up. Baby. Okay, and I'll put that down here in the bottom corner. I think this little background circle could be cute in red or even in green as well. So I chose the Balmy Blue, which matches this little part of the gingham paper. There we go. All right, next is to assemble our box. So what I'm going to do is grab my, I'm going to use my Stampin' Seal Plus, and a quick reminder on knowing which Stampin' Seal is which. The lighter blue is the Stampin' Seal, and it is a strong adhesive, but not quite as strong as the Stampin' Seal Plus, which is the darker blue. So I'm going to use this, but you could certainly grab your tear and tape if you prefer. Either one, it just depends on kind of what's handy. And this is right here, so let's go. What I'm going to do is put some adhesive on this tab that we did the little wedge on. So we'll do that on both. And then I also want to put adhesive here. And let me just show you why I'm going to put it on these tabs rather than this side. Once this box goes together, this is actually going to fold towards the back. And in doing it this way, we're going to hide that seam just a little bit better. So I've got my Stampin' Seal Plus. Yeah, that is fun to do on camera. All right. Sorry about that. I had a little clog that I had to fix. All right. Nothing like Stampin' Live, right? Okay, and my Stampin', oh, this is gonna happen again. All right, let me switch to my other Stampin' Seal. Or since this is already right here, I'll just grab this. I'm sorry about that. Okay, so I'll put my tear and tape down instead. I don't plan on editing this video, so we are just going to change as we go. All right, and then the same thing, I'm gonna put my tear and tape over here on these flaps. Let's go ahead and put another little piece there. Since it's a box, I'll probably put treats in it, and if there's any weight to it at all, we don't want our box popping open. So, okay, I'm gonna use this to peel up my backings. All right, let's just do one side at a time. So I'm gonna fold the little tab down and attach it to this other flap that has sticky on it, like so. And then I'm gonna take this one and wrap it around, line it up, and stick it to that one. So I'm gonna press down to seal it really good. And now you can see what I mean. This folds nicely, and then the seam is in the back, rather than the seam being on this front corner of the box. And then the other side is the same process. I'm gonna fold my little tab in, and let me peel these off. Got some little black fuzz there. Okay, that is not going to show now that I tucked it in. Okay, so here's the sticky tab. Let's stick that there and then fold over our last flap nice and even. And I'm going to press it down to seal really well. All right, so there is our little box all constructed. I'm going to do a couple things to this to finish it. For one, let's take a hole punch. This is a pretty small hole punch. This is about 1/8 of an inch. It's just a craft punch, just so we can get a hole in here for our ribbon. And we will come and attach the ribbon in a second. What I want to reach for are these red rhinestones, which are also in the January to June mini catalog. And I am finding that I'm using these on all kinds of projects, not just sweetheart things, which is kind of the reason that I bought them originally, was for Valentine's projects. But I love them so much. And with that red strawberry, look how cute this is. So we'll put a couple of rhinestones right there with our little sentiment, and then maybe a few more. You could use your U-pick tool, which must have been just out of reach. I couldn't find it, so I was able to grab my old piercing tool and pick up my rhinestones with ease. Let's put one, let's put one down here. All right, so 3 or 5 or 7 rhinestones, just enough to give it a little bit of glimmer and a little bit of pop. All right, we'll set those aside. Now the ribbon that I'm using was actually from the holiday catalog. It's the Snowflake Splendor Ribbon. I like it because it's kind of white, but it's got a little blue shimmer to it, which I thought looked good with the paper. Because it was in the holiday catalog, if you didn't buy it before the end of December 2020, then you probably can't get it now since it retired. But you could use another ribbon. I'll show you what I did on that other box. Let me pull that in here. And just used some red braided trim on this one, so that's cute too. Whatever ribbon you have on hand, I would suggest something with a little bit of weight to it, because otherwise it won't stand up nicely like a handle. So I threaded this inside the box. I'm going to pull it way through to make it easier to work with, and tie this in a knot. Okay, that's easy, and I'm going to pull it through. Then I'll take the other side of the ribbon and thread it through the hole in the other side of the box. I am using about 10 inches of ribbon, And what you'll see I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pull this way through, tighter than it's going to end up, but I want to pull it way through to make it easier to tie the knot in this end. And then I'm also, whoops, got to turn it around again. I'm also going to tie the knot, not quite in the end of the ribbon. Let me show you what I mean. I'm going to pull it this way a little bit further, because I know if I tie it right in the end, my handle is actually going to be too long. But if you start with a short piece of ribbon, you don't have enough to work with. It's really hard to get your fingers in there and tie the knot. So I've got my knot tied a little bit further from the end here. Then I can pull this through. See how the handle sticks up nicely? It's not going to cave. All right, and then I can trim this extra tail, get that off of there. All right, and there we have our box. And again, this will stand up nicely with some treats or a little present inside. Now, as I mentioned, I wanted to show you one other way that you could do your stamping. So what I did on this method is I took a thick piece of white cardstock. This is the thicker weight compared to our Whisper White or the new basic white cardstock. So this is thick. And I took my punch and just punched the whole thing out. So I need the muscles from both hands. I'm going to just pull this towards me so I can punch that. All right, so that gives me almost like this negative space, like a puzzle pieces would fit into it. So then I'll take my regular white cardstock that I'm going to do my stamping on, and I'm just going to attach this to this little guide that I've created. Now I'm going to use a little bit of washi tape just because I happen to have it right here handy, but you could just use Scotch tape or any kind of adhesive that isn't going to stick it like too stuck, because we're going to pull this off in a minute. I just want it to hold on so that it doesn't slide around. So I've got my guide that I punched just lightly stuck to my white cardstock. Then what you can do is stamp inside the little spaces. Now you do have to kind of get in there because you want to make sure that you're stamping in the spot, just like you were taking a puzzle piece and dropping it in. So this may be a little difficult on camera because I'm going to have to get down here where I can see what I'm doing. All right, so you're going to stamp inside the little space. As you can see, I've done that. And continue with all of your stamping in the same way. So I would go ahead and drop my red strawberry in. I would go ahead and do my stem. And you're just putting the stamp right down into the space that you've created with your guide. Okay, and I'm going to apologize because just for the sake of speed, I am not lining these up super careful, and it's a little bit hard to get my head in the keep my head from getting in the shot. All right, so again, I'm stamping down through the guide onto the white cardstock, and I think you're already going to get the idea. You're going, oh, I know where she's headed with this. Then, okay, then you would finish your flower, obviously, and now we're going to remove the guide. Just get this to pop off of there. Now you can take this piece back to your punch and actually punch several pre-stamped images out all at once. All right, and had I had a little bit more cardstock on the edge, I could hold on to it better, but that's fine. This is going to work just fine. Okay, I'm going to line that up about like so. And I'm not going to work to get this perfect because my project is already done, but I am showing you another way to get this done. Then I would punch. Again, I'm going to pull this towards me so I can punch really hard without pinching my hand. And I've got several stamped images that punched out all at once. So that's another way that you can do it if you don't want to use the strips to do your stamping and then your punching. I thought that that was a fun little hack that you might want to know, and it would work with other punches that have multiple images, just like the strawberry one. So that's our box for today. Here, I'll bring in this other one. This is the one that we actually did at Stamp Club this month. It's got some different gems on it just for sparkle. And we also did a white heat embossed greeting on this one on the black paper, kind of that chalkboard image. And then this was the one for today. I'm kind of happy with that yellow box. I hope you are too. Thanks for watching.